working on doing this without the mic. Last time I had the mic, it just messed the sound up. So y'all, please let me know if you can hear me. Let me know. Let me know. And if you all give me 1 second, I'm just sending this off so I can be done. I hope you all are doing wonderful. Today what I'm going to be doing is just talking you through a couple of my plants I have, whether or not I would recommend them to you or not. That's pretty much it. But as always, if you have any questions, put them down there in the box. And if I don't answer it, you might have to get me, you might have to like send another message so that way it pops up again. But other than that though, guys, we are going to go ahead and get into this. The first plant, let's see here, that I'm going to talk about is going to be my Philodendron Green Nuclear Congo. Here we go. All right, so our Philodendron Green Nuclear Congo. Do you all see this beautiful plant here? Can you see it? Can you see it? Oh my goodness, right? I actually bought this from an auction, and the auction was, it's online. It's called Urban Leaf. That's what I go to on Instagram. And he has a live auction almost every Wednesday between 6:30 and 7:30, I want to say. Don't quote me exactly on it, but his name is Urban Leaf, in case you want to know, on Instagram. This is where I got this beauty from. He does auctions there, and what happened is he mainly sells a lot of anthuriums, and that's what I usually tell people who are who wants to start off with anthuriums and or who are all the way in that game. He sells them for a really good price. I should go back and say, let's go back. People who collect anthuriums go to him to get those discounts because it's like that. I don't know enough about anthuriums to feel comfortable enough to just hop into that game and give recommendations, but I know they are very expensive in comparison to a philodendron. So usually when I'm in there, most people aren't there for the philodendrons. If something stands out, then of course we get a couple of bids. So this one, I noticed, kept getting bids on it. It started off pretty low, just kept on getting bid. Oh, well, you know what? I want some of this. Long story short, I walked out paying only like $65, I want to say, for it. If that, and I mean, come on. And no, I had no idea that this leaf right here was going to come from it at all. It is freaking beautiful. I'm just blown away. I've never had a plant this beautiful before. Just with a leaf that is so different. But anyway, I'm gonna give you the care needs for this plant though, since we are here. Care needs for this philodendron is quite simple. You want to make sure that it gets water when it's dry. I like using a self-watering container because just in case these plants dry out and I don't quite get around to it, this will help take care of that for me. Soil, nice chunky area mix is what you want to put inside of these guys, okay? A little bit of orchid bark, some perlite, and some indoor potting mix. I can show you what mine look like, for example. Very, very simple to make, guys. And don't forget, we're living in a world now where you can go to the store and just buy pre-mixes already done. It's this brand called Soul, S-O-L, Soul. I don't get paid for them, I'm just giving you all a recommendation. They have a houseplant mix and it's becoming ready available in a lot of local nurseries, so that's a good thing. That's already pre-mixed. I believe I saw the bag costing it right at $10 for a little small bag. But if you're like me and you need a lot, then this is a nice quick mix to go with. You just get you some size 3 perlite. You order that from Amazon. I have not been able to see perlite this size that you can just walk into a store and buy. Let's take a good look. See that size of that perlite? That helps out really well. Now, one thing that I actually just found out when I went to my local nursery was do not use, when you're making your mix, she gave me a recommendation about using this bark here. She said that it's smarter, it's more airy if you get the real chunkier one. I used to mix some spaghetti moss to the mix you make. Not sure how helpful. Should I stop adding? Yes. Only reason why I say stop adding to it is because moss retains a lot of water. So you're kind of defeating the mix on making it airy and then giving it something to retain. It's just fighting there. I would, but if your plant has been growing well for you, it's back to me. I got you. What's going on, Seymours? But I will tell you this: if your plant has been growing well in that and it hasn't been giving any issues, don't do anything to change it either. Okay. But if you do start seeing some problems or you do start having a couple of watering issues, I would definitely recommend just taking that out on your next batch that you do. Okay. But guys, you can go get indoor pot mix, your perlite, and your bark, orchid bark. You get those three mixes, you mix them together. Each one of those bags out the store is usually average around $7 to $8. Okay, so you're looking at paying about 30 bucks. But guys, $30 will get you about 3 to 4 of these containers. Most of us aren't going to use one of these containers on average a month. You know what I mean? So you definitely get your money's worth. Another good mix to add into this is horticulture charcoal. That helps a lot too. Now, if you ask me exactly what it does, I don't know, but it's been recommended by everyone, and I threw it into my plants, and it hasn't caused them no harm. So I'm gonna say it's good for them. They changed a little bit of that. I think we talked about it a little bit. They changed the bag. So now this is what the Miracle Grow indoor pot mix is looking like. Now remember, you also can get the indoor pot mix for tropical houseplants. Hey Will, what's going on? But yeah, you definitely want to look into that if you go into the store. This is the tropical houseplant right here. I know you've seen those in the store. So either or, you can get that and we can break it down because it's not that much of a difference. This one says it has lava rocks, and then this one right here kind of just has a little bit of perlite. Either way, if you ask me, I hope everyone is doing good. Yeah, man, we're doing good. We hope you are too. But if you ask me, both of them are pretty much the same type of mix, just with a few little different things. I would still make it airy. Both of those by itself is still going to retain too much moisture. And I actually do have a picture or a bag of that horticulture charcoal. I know we talked about it before, guys, but horticulture charcoal for your plant, that's supposed to be really good too as well. And that's pretty much it. Now, I know we was talking about the philodendron here again, and we talked about the soil. That's the mix we want to give it, a nice chunky airy mix. I'm actually using a self-watering container, but other than that, you want to water your philodendron when the top 1 to 2 inches. You know what? Just 2 inches. I'm not going to say 1 inch. Let's just be on the safe guard. Let's go with 2 inches. When it's about 2 inches dry, that's when you want to water your plant, okay? With the philodendron. Good morning. Do you ever add or use microcrozal fungi root stimulator? I do. I don't. I've heard of a couple of people who use it and they have good results and they continue to use it, and they've shown a lot of videos and pictures of their plants, and it definitely helps a lot with the color of the plant, but I just haven't used it. I haven't had a need to yet, I would say. A product that is somewhat close to it, let me run and grab it. I'll show you. This one right here, this rich powder, that's about the closest thing I think that we are kind of talking about in the same neighborhood. Still not exactly, but this is one thing that I have added to just a few plants before, and it's done all right. Now, I will say this. I've only added it to about 3 plants, and I didn't notice a big noticeable difference. And so when I started actually fertilizing my plants, I stopped using this and just started fertilizing. And after the results of the fertilizing, I never went back to this. So to be fair, I never fully committed to using it, so I couldn't recommend to you if it's good or bad. But I always say this: if you've been using it and your plant's doing great, continue using it. If you haven't been using it and your plant's doing great, I wouldn't introduce it. But that's just me. Yeah. So we covered the philodendron. Do you all have any specific plants in general, or I'm going to move over to the monstera because I'm actually really happy to show you this new esqueleto leaf. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Take a look, take a look. This is my first successful escalator leaf that has came in a very long time inside of this plant room without it being messed up. She's actually perfect. Usually when they come in, I have some type of dryness, some little pop, some little nick. Either I'll hit the plant, bump it, something happens, and the leaf never comes in beautiful like this. Still comes in beautiful, but just never comes in perfect. So I'm really, really, really enjoying this. Now the escalator here. This is what I learned about this plant. Let me show you those roots inside of there. My son wants a plant. Hey, listen. If you want to get your son a plant, the easiest plant to get is going to be a pothos or a philodendron trailing plant. Any plant like that. I'm gonna move a little closer. We're gonna come back. Now, don't get one of these. You don't. Escalator or just a monstera in general, they are good for beginners, but they just get to be so big that almost taking care of them is how they get neglected and they don't do as well. Because I mean, they can grow. Let's get into the other ones though that I want to show you. I'm gonna go back and fix that. Let's go over here. This is my section. Let's move on over here. All right. Can everybody see? Hopefully you can. I'm gonna try to turn it a little bit. There we go. And I don't know how we're gonna get the trailing. Let's just bring it over here so you can see. So these right here are the trailing philodendrons, and they are absolutely beautiful and they are easy to take care of. These plants dry, you can water them when they dry all the way out, give them some water, they're good to go. And even when they say that they are a low light plant, you still want to give them as much light as you can. But if you don't have a lot of light to give to them, like let's just say you don't have a window right here and it's all the way across the room, these plants will still do pretty well, okay? Scadapsus would do well too. They're just a different type of plant I will go with. They do not have the typical leaves that you're used to. So I don't know if, I know with me when I was first starting off with plants, I didn't want to go too far left or right. So I kind of stuck with something kind of simple and easy for me to be able to just Google and look up. This is a very common plant now, Scadapsus it is, but the shape of the leaves are a little bit different. And the way that it grows isn't typical to any other trailing house plant. In my opinion, they're a little bit slower of a grower and a little bit feisty when it comes to light. So if you want something that's really just chilled and easy going, you definitely want to go with your trailing plant there. And of course, you can't go wrong if you go with something like a Brazil as well. Now, my number one plant is a jade pothos. That's what I will always recommend. And we're gonna go get us situated back over here, guys. So yeah, if you went with something like a jade pothos or a plant like that, ooh, let me see, I think we're crooked, guys, hold on. Is that right? If you go with something like a pothos, you're looking to spend anywhere between, a good one, between $10 to $15, depending on where you go. I will say a jade full dark pothos, that's just your dark green pothos, they aren't as common unless you are out shopping for them during the spring or summertime. Now I've noticed I see them, but when it comes to the winter months, the only pothos that I usually see available for the most part is just the global, not global, but the they call them Hawaiian pothos, but they're just the green and colors just kind of mixed in one. But yeah, good question, good question. Let's see, what other plant to talk about? A micin. I don't believe I've shared with y'all about the philodendron micin. This is another, let me see if I can get a little lighting. Can you all see this pretty well? Let's see. That should have helped it some. There we go. How about that now? All right, so this right here is a philodendron micin, and if you look very closely, I don't know if you can see almost how shiny the top of the leaves are. That right there feels just like Velcro. Yeah, they are. They are very, very nice to have. Very, very easy growers. And I don't know if you can see it a little bit, maybe, but when the sunlight's coming in the window, the way that the light hit the back of the leaves, it turns the whole leaves like reddish burgundy. Is freaking crazy. I know, Gigi. I can never seem to just not have a mic in the house. I'm gonna tell you something crazy I did. I'll be as quick as I can. I decided I wanted a mic to be able to trail on a moss pole, right? So I go and get the moss pole stuff. I set it inside the pot, get ready to let it grow. I bump it. I don't think anything of it. I just water the plant and I keep it moving. What happened was that me having it on the moss pole, before I even put it on the moss pole, it was growing inside the pot and it already had aerial roots and so forth going into the soil. So I guess it had become dependent on having something to grow with. And I started noticing that the plant started declining a little bit. And I was like, okay, well maybe I need to start misting the leaves and so forth. So I took the plant out of soil, put it on a dry moss pole. Then I turned around and didn't water the moss pole at all. Then I decided that I'm gonna start misting the moss pole, and I started misting it right when the grow lights was right there hitting it too. And you know that if you put water on your plants right around the time that your grow lights are going on, it irritates the plants and start to cause them a little brown. So I did all that, and boom, I ended up losing the mic. And on top of that, I lost even the plant that was in the pot because I wasn't even focused on this anymore because I was so focused on that trailing. It was like a small little batch of micans, and then it was like a big line that was growing up. So it happened. So I'm thinking about doing the same thing, but this time I'm gonna be very smart. I'm just gonna take a clipping from here, propagate it in some sphagnum moss and some perlite, let that root out. Then I'm gonna get a moss pole or some type of plank, and then I'm just a little bitty one and just let it grow up on there. So let the area nodes basically wrap around on that stake or moss pole, and that'll cause the leaves to be able to size up as I give it more light. So I've done it a couple of times. It really does work if you do it the right way. You just have to be consistent at watering it and so forth. That's why I give it to people who have roots growing inside of their sphagnum moss that they're building their plants on, because that's freaking amazing. Sorry. Felt like I know. Do you know if they go dormant in the winter months? Mine are struggling since it's been colder. Just about every plant during the winter months is pretty much going to slow down completely. So as long as you don't have any mold at the top of the soil, which means it's just holding a lot of water on there, and we don't want to stress it out. And as long as you haven't done no recent type of move and no repot or anything to stress the plant out, I would just say, hey, just let it chill, let it do its thing. It really depends on you. During the months, I would say the winter months, even the fall and so forth, especially here in my room, my plants don't really see that big of a difference. It is warmer, so humidity is a little bit better in here. I don't deal with as much leaf stuck as I do, so I'm not going to say there aren't things that are changing inside of the room, but for the most part, the sunlight is cut down to 3 to 4 hours less than what it's used to. But since I also have had grow lights on it for substitute lighting, they have slowed down a tad bit, but not enough for me to assume that they was going like dormant. But no, they're not going to grow as much as you used to. It. When the springtime comes, you'll be doing all right. But right now, as long as your plant is green and it looks the same way it used to, don't stress about it. You're doing everything right, okay? These micans, though, guys, if you can give them and put them in the soil that can retain their moisture a little bit more, I found that it keeps their leaves usually a little bit more flush. When they dry out completely, they do not like that. And most of the leaves do not bounce back. A lot of the other ones, they are a lot more forgiving. If you forget to water them, or you intentionally don't water them because you're scared of overwater, their leaves will just start to curl up a little bit, and their green will start looking a little bit dusty. You know, plants will give you all the signals that you need to take care of them. You know, when people say that, oh, all my plants keep dying, I forget to water them, it's the only way you can forget something is if you remembered it in the first place, okay? So you never put it in your head to give your plant the proper care, and most of the time it's because When we first buy plants, we put them in the worst place possible. You know, we put them somewhere where we're going to forget about it because we think that's what plants want. Plants like you to talk to them. They like you to touch them. They like you to, I don't know, appreciate them. Plants like that, you know. So when you set them in a room in a little back corner, you put them in time out, and they're here to help you thrive. They're here to help you feel good. I know that that's what they do for me. So, that's what happened a lot of times when we buy plants or when people first start buying plants and they die. You know, you have to figure out what's going to work best for you and buy a plant that's going to fit your style. Most of the time, our first couple of plants, they are too complicated, okay? That's why I believe I have so many plants that I have now. Like, let's just turn a little bit, because I'll show you this rack. This whole rack, pretty much, this whole rack, and about half of this rack is nothing in there special. Like, they're regular house plants. And what happened was, you know, I talked about it a couple of times before, is that pink princess, when I first got into collecting plants, the pink princess was, you know, it was really big. So I instantly went to those hybrid plants, and I skipped all of the simple, easy-going plants because I'm like, they're common plants. They're not going to bring me any joy. Bull crap, okay? I will tell you one thing. If you don't have, or if you're overlooking your common household plants, but for the people who do have them, we understand. Listen, they bring you so much joy because they are so forgiving and they're so easy to learn from. They teach you about watering. They teach you how to repot because they give you time after time again. As you move up in more expensive plants, and if you're a person who's been moving up in your plants, then you can attest that the more plants cost, the least forgiving they are. Okay, it's crazy. It works in the opposite way. That the more you pay for a plant, the less forgiving they are if you forget about it. So you just need to know what it is that you're doing. So the best learning experiences come from these plants right here. The ones that if I forget to water them, they're just gonna frail all the way up, throw a hissy fit, and then when I, boom, give it some more water, they are good to go. You know what I mean? And that goes for philodendrons and pothos. Monsteras, I know I keep saying they're very easy plants, but monsteras are easy plants, but they're like next level easy plants. I don't know how to explain it. You know, you learn how to make a peanut butter sandwich, and then you finally can move up to making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because you've been trusted enough to be able to get a spoon and not use the same knife to dip it in the jelly and so forth. I mean, maybe that's a good analogy, I don't know. But that's the only way I can put it with monsteras. It's like you got the basic down and you good to go. We just want to just make sure you know what you're doing before because it's a little bit different. I have a cutter from one of my grandfather's golden pops, the original panels out there. They ran. Oh no, it ran out. If the original's still around after at least 12 rounds, I have pics of me as a baby. Goodness gracious. I bet you the stem on there probably is about that thick. My goodness. 44 years old. So does yours fit straight now? I mean, is at that age? I don't know if you've grown it up or anything, or if it's growing down, how it's doing. Has it finstrated? I know they require a lot of light, but I don't know based on that age. I don't know how that worked. If it grew, the leaf grew bigger, or if the stem just grew thicker. That's insane. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. Do you know if they know me? No, we answered that one. Okay. All right, so let it retain. And you want to feed this plant, guys. Give it a little bit of fertilizer every once in a while. I don't fertilize my plants regular and frequently like you're supposed to. My dad's kept cutting it, but we have tons of new baby, but the stem is a bit thick on it. Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah, you're going to have to keep cutting it. It goes crazy. That's pretty daggone cool, though. Gosh. I think the oldest plant I have in my room is about 5 and a half years old. I wonder though, when the older they get, is it the easier to care for them because you understand them, or is it kind of like with humans? You know, as we get a little bit older, then we start, you know, regressing a little bit back to needing a little bit more help and assistance because we just can't do what we used to be able to do in our prime. I wonder, does that help with plants? Like, do they just hit a spot where they just completely just take off and they're in their prime and then they slow down? Because you never see, let me see. It's like a jungle plant. I'm 44, so I know it's at least 40. That's insane. That is pretty daggone cool. Well, that's a family plant. That's gonna be around forever. So do you all have like cuttings of it in like everybody in relatives' houses, like different parts of the plant? Because I'm guessing it's probably the family plant by now. Or is anybody else into plants? Because you said your granddad's had it, so I'm guessing was he into like plants too? All right, guys, and I'm also, it's really is nothing more to talk about the mic, and I just didn't want to waste y'all time there. I want to talk a little bit about this 3-in-1 before I get ready to get off and give my opinion on it as I'm using it. I usually wait until the reviews till I use it all the way up, and then I'll give if I like it or not. So far, I'm liking it. I do like the smell of it. It has like a methadol peppermint type smell to it. I bought the concentrate version. I got off on Amazon. Ooh, maybe for $29 or $39. That is bad. I can look it up. I really don't want to give y'all the wrong information. You would think I would remember. Let's see here. And of course, I'm in the wrong account. Come on. And we are here. All right, we are almost here, guys. I paid $37 for it. Okay, so it's a 3-in-1 plant spray. This one right here is concentrated, so you could pour it into the bottle. It says it makes up to 6 gallons. So the spray bottle that I've been using, it's original. It's one of these bottles right here. And I don't know, I think it can make like 26 of these, I'm not for sure. But anyway, so I've been using this on my Monstera ties. You know, those over there, I discovered that they had thrips. So I've been treating it with them, and they've been looking pretty good. I don't know if y'all can see them over there. We have that one over there that just unfurled a couple of days. The leaf is still soft on there. And those are the other guys over there. So I've been using this spray on them for about a week and a half. So far, good results. The plants aren't progressing as in getting worse or anything. So that's what I want from it. I think though that it is a little, when you're thinking about like the smell of it, as in using the SNS 203, which I'm still using too. That's an all natural one. Now this one, it says it's for organic gardening, but it really is a strong. I was gonna say sometimes with my hands when I'm spraying it and it's got on it, it's made it a little bit itchy, and I'm not sensitive at all to things. So I just noticed that maybe working with the 203, I could move around and it could splash on me a little bit, and I didn't notice anything. But just a heads up with that. But guys, it's been working really good for me. I'm gonna give you a little bit more of an update as it goes to let you know if it moves faster as far as treating. One that everybody kind of knows about, doesn't have been in it. Neem can do that. Yeah, I know neem. Yeah, neem is good. The only thing that I run into with neem is that I don't think I ever put neem oil though in an actual spray bottle and do it. You just gave me an idea. Thank you. I'm gonna write it down. Yeah. I was gonna say, is that I've never been able to get through with all my plants with neem oil because it just takes too long. I never thought to put the neem oil and water in the spray bottle and go from there. Now, plunging your plants also work good too. I'm just speaking to people, if you have like a thrips outbreak or a mealybug outbreak and you can pick a plant up and be able to dunk it in some water and get in there, that's really good to do. That'll help get you going. Okay, I need to write that down. Neem oil spray. Thank you for that suggestion. Thank you. I bought some neem oil right here. This is the one that I've been using for a while. It came highly recommended. They said that this is a really good one. You have to watch out what kind of neem oil you get because some neem oil doesn't have all neem. Isn't just neem oil and to get the cold press. I don't know, guys. I'm just going with what I've been recommended, what I've been told. So this one hasn't given me any problem at all. Now, I know that if you mix neem oil and there you go, I was just going to say, you mix neem oil, castor oil, soap, you can get that from Walmart. Pretty much they sell it at any stores you go to. But you get some of that peppermint soap, mixing it with your neem oil and some water. You get your 10 ounces of water. What I usually do is 1 ounce of neem oil, 1 ounce of peppermint soap. Shake it up real good, guys, and get you a good spray in. Now, you can play around with the potion a little bit more and give it more. You can do your research. Hey, I have an exact 1 gallon bottle. How much should I go to from there? It's this thing called ChatGPT, guys. Just use it. Okay, it helps sometimes. I don't know how many times I've gone through and I don't know what's going on with my plant. It's doing something very just finicky. Well, guess who's getting called Chat? Now, be careful with Chat because Chat will give you the absolute wrong plant. I know I've said it a couple of times, but it's the truth. You will take a picture of a plant, you give it to them, and they will give you the total wrong name. And then you be like, hey, this is a so-and-so, I know it is. And then they'll say, as I looked a little bit closer, I do identify that some of these things do agree with what you were saying. This is a boom. You're like, okay, you about to have me out here looking crazy. You about to kill my plant. So I would say always, with questions and so forth, it's good to be in a room like this, or if you know people, or if you can get to your local nurseries. The real good nurseries, they'll answer questions on phones. I know I called my nursery just the other day. I was like, hey, I have, what was it? Oh, she told me that. I said, oh, it was a mealybug. So I was cleaning out my cabinet over here, and one of the pothos down at the bottom just had a whole lot of mealybugs. And I was like, I'm just sick of this. I'm doing the treatment. It's just taking forever and so. It has to be a quicker way. So I pick up the phone and I call and I let them know. I was like, hey, got a question. I called to see if Jack was working because Jack knows his stuff. Come to find out, Jack don't work there no more. But anyway, Jack knows his stuff. I called her and I was like, hey, well, I have this mealybug outbreak. She was like, is it bad? Is it a little bit? I was like, it's pretty bad. She was like, okay, so what kind of plant is it? I told her exactly what it was, and I don't think it really mattered what kind, but maybe she was just doing that for customer service. Who knows? Oh no, I lost some light. Let me plug this up, guys. Hold on. And I tell her exactly what kind I have going on there. She's like, okay, well, what you want to do is go to the sink. You want to get that plant, pick it up, and you want to just dip it as much as you can. I was like, okay. She was like, and be careful. Get your neem oil gloves, and if you want to get some rubbing alcohol, you can get that too, just a little tiny bit. And get you a Q-tip, and get you any type of cloth that you have. And after it comes out with Dunkin', I want you to go through each leaf, every plant, every stem. You have to do this to make sure you got all of it. I was like, okay. And she told me I could use a little bit of peroxide in the water when I get ready to re-water the plant as well. I didn't do that part. Just tell me the truth. I still want to make sure this works and confirms. I mean, she may have been telling me everything absolutely right, but one thing I'll say this. When you take advice from somebody else, don't you go into your whole room and all your plants. Even if I tell you something, do not go do it to all of your plants. Try on one plant first. See if it works. If it works, then you know I didn't lie to you. If it don't work, then I might have left out something in just talking. But you didn't turn around and kill all your plants. You know what I mean? I try not to leave anything out, but I'm only human. But yeah, so we're gonna see how the results are gonna come out from there. And if it can just eliminate it over halfway, then I definitely will say, hey, 100% natural way is the way to go. Most people who've been doing the plants for a very long time, way longer than me. What's going on, Sadiq? Most people who've been doing plants way longer than me, they believe completely in just the natural, because they say that the chemicals that you use when you spray on your plants, it fixes one thing, but it doesn't fix another. And then when you do have another outbreak, it comes back even harder. Waving from San Diego Bay. Nanoboppers spot. San Francisco. Wow, you're all the way over there. Okay. Well, how you doing? That's a stupid question. We've been talking for a long time. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out this live. But you should see. But what's the weather like over there? The weather still is still warm, right? I don't know if the season changes over there that much. I would imagine it's not as high as it is in the summer, but probably like 70 or something, right? No tell. I would play some music, guys, but the last time that I played music in my room, YouTube took all my sound off. I was like, dang, okay, well, clearly I don't own the rights to this music, but okay. See, need to get some neem oil. Yeah, Morris, it's worth it. Neem oil, it's like that. It's one of those things you want to have alongside with Super Thrive and your water. You can't go wrong with it. Let's see here. Okay, it's been warm recently, but we've had over the years, so bugs are out of control. Oh, what kind of bugs? You know, when I used to live out there, not in San Francisco, we used to live in Monterey, California. The little roly-poly-olies and the centipedes was just out of control. It was ridiculous. My dad was in the military, so you said all bugs. Oh, I will say over here in North Carolina, we don't have too much going on, especially the wintertime. Now, when the summertime comes, pill bugs are saying, yeah, they are. They are. In the summertime, we have to worry about just ants coming in. Spiders, maybe every once in a while, but I'm not scared of spiders, and I don't have a spider issue. Now, of course, I don't want no spider crawling all up and down me or anything like that. But I'll see a little spider, I just get out the way and keep it moving. Like, that spider got other things to do than to worry about me. Even if it is a poisonous one, I don't care about a spider. You know what I mean? I let it go do its thing. Hopefully, me letting it go, it'll never come back to attack me. But those ants, they mean. The ants here are mean. Yeah. It used to be just the little fire ants you used to have to worry about, and most of the time they won't come into the house. But the black ants will be pretty cool. But these black ants that's been coming in recently, they come straight in. Everybody said they're sugar ants, whatever, because what they're doing in my plant room there. But they come in here and they go straight to the pantry or to the cabinets where they can find any food. And I do have kids, and I do my best to clean it up, but there's always a crumb or two laying around somewhere that you just wouldn't think. And when you go to try to touch them, or you think that you got all of them, they start biting you and everything. So I'm glad I don't have to worry about them. They don't start rolling around until like about the summertime. So let's see here. I view beneficial nature enough, so that makes a big impact now that I've done it. 2 years for 2 years. See, now I don't even know what that is. That sounds expensive though. It does. The things we have to do, but I mean, I would rather that be looking to use benefit. Oh, I do. Okay, I have heard of the beneficial. Okay. It's not expensive. I think you can order those off of Amazon, right? It was this guy that I used to follow a lot. I don't know what happened. Jeff was cool as hell. His collection was freaking crazy. His whole house was a collection. He didn't just have a plant room, he had a plant house. He was really funny with all his editing, just all of that stuff. And then about, I don't know, about like 7 months ago, he just kind of just went ghost. He completely stopped posting. He stopped doing everything, right? But he still was going around, still liking people's like stuff and all that. I mean, this guy's a beast. His plants was amazing. His content was amazing. Like, and he was a good, solid guy all around. But yeah, he just stopped. He just started just liking pictures and stuff, but still wasn't posting. And then he just poof, disappeared. I tried to tag him in something because I don't care. I remember sending him a message a while back just saying, hey man, you know, you doing all right? Is everything okay? Because he will pop up every single morning. And then when somebody pop up every morning, you get used to that, and then they just completely stop. It's like, hey, you know, let me just see, make sure you're doing good. And when I called to make sure, well, Instagram, DM to make sure he was doing good, he said, hey, I was fine. I'm just getting some things together. Somebody tell me that, I'm respectful of that. I fall back. I ain't gonna bother you no more. You said you're getting your life together, and you said you're good, and that's all that's all I need. And then all of a sudden, yeah, I go to tag him in because I was just letting people know like some great people to follow and so forth. I go to tag him in, and he's disappeared. So. Let's see here. That's how the planetarium was. Hold on a minute. I missed out. What do you mean by the planetarium? That one went off. If you own your home, it's great to minimize subterranean termites. No, I don't own this home. No, so I do have, when the people they come through every year, they do something just like a treatment. I'm being nosy right now. What's going on? It's a man outside the door. But when they come like to do the spraying and so forth, this year I did go for the treatment just to make sure, because they tried to get me last year and I'm trying to be cheap. I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that, you know. And nope. This year when the guy was walking around, he was telling me, he's like, you know, I can give you all a big discount because so and so. I don't really care. I know your discount is still gonna benefit you more than me, whatever. Well, what's the price? And because he was just getting started, him and his son, they just funded the business and all that. Y'all know I'm a big supporter of small business. So homeownership is a wild new level. It sure is. I had a townhouse before we moved over here. My wife and I, long story short, my wife and I, she became a traveling nurse early part of like 2020. So, you know, right there when COVID and all that was coming in. COVID money was coming in, you know, for if you was doing medical, you can go in there, you can work. And so we owned our townhouse that we lived in. We've been staying in that townhouse for like 8 years, something like that. Our kids, they was getting big, they was getting older, and so we saved up. You know, we saved up money. We was ready just to go ahead and buy. And then that's when the housing market started getting completely stupid. And it was no house that we wanted. The money that we had, our down payment that we had, like it could get you a down payment to a house like this. Oh no, it was barely getting us even a quarter of a house of what we wanted. So we waited. And we waited till it got to the point where we could not be able to live, because here we are. It's two of us, right? It's, you know, 2 adults and 2 kids. And our boy's the oldest. He's going into the 5th grade at that time, coming out. So he's getting bigger. And everything everything was so small and tight. We couldn't even plan to think of what our future was to go and do anything. Literally, our bedroom was right across from the living room. So I just felt like when people came in to visit us, which I didn't want anybody in our house because we was busting out the house. Like we had office and the computer, all of that stuff was in the living room, all of that, you know. Long story short, opportunity presented itself that we can get exactly in the neighborhood that we wanted to be able to get into, but we just gonna have to rent. And I told my wife, I said, you know what, at this point, you know, first off, I'm so glad that we did do this, because I know for a fact I don't want to stay in the subdivision at all. Staying in our townhouse and having to follow the HOA rules and all that. I will say this, HOA is real chill over here, but I'm too close to people. I want to be able to have my yard where people can pull in, can drive down. I'm from the country area anyway, so we always had 1 to 2 acres of land. I'm not saying that I need to have 2 acres of land, but I have done some research and I found where there are some places that we actually can be able to afford. And for right now, we're saving up our money, and our plan is to be able to build something. We've been working on a layout on how we want the house to be built. Pretty much as far as size-wise for the house and so forth, we're completely fine with this house size-wise, but there's just some rooms that we don't necessarily need that we can turn into exactly the way we want it, like upstairs, downstairs closet to be able to get there. And I want my whole plant room to be nothing but 4 walls of window. Maybe I can get some technology blind-wise that I can hit a button that can completely do it, but I don't really, care too much about it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. I was just up here just talking. She was a really big plant in the world. She disappeared. You can see her on my bad. No, we'll find out what kind it is. I just was like, did I miss something? I'm just blessed enough to be able to buy my grandma's home with. I know that's right. You can't beat that. You can't. My mom has a house up the road from our house, but our town, oh my gosh, I don't care too much for my town. It's very, very small, and unless you're a school teacher, which you get paid like the least in our state, it's just not good. Go follow in that homes. That's what I want, the homestead and the home. And I believe we couldn't afford this place if we paid for it. Being price, it would have been more than fun to play with the stuff we got to do in Reno. I hear you on that. I'm so happy for you that you're able to do that. I'm telling you, move outside to the city and start a homestead. Yes, that is the goal. I told that to our wife who was driving down the road, and she didn't know what a homestead was. I was basically telling her, I was like, yeah, I need our path. Like when we pull off of the road, I would like for them to be able to drive up and the house be towards the back on the left-hand side facing it. I was like, so that way on the other side of the field, we have our garden that's going to be for the community, and people could pull in to our house, and not necessarily our house, but pull in over there. And that's where I can be, plowing and doing the work, but still allow the community to be able to come in. I was like, we're still going to have it gated. I was like, and then we can put our chickens. She's like, chickens? What? We having animals? And I was like, well, I'm not going to push it and get a cows and get a horse or anything. But I was like, I can start small, and I do want to get a man-made pond or river, lake, whatever it is. I just want to be able to be at a point. And I told her too, what got her going was, I told her I was going to put a gas station outside the house. And she was like, gas station? I didn't mean to say gas station, but just a gas tank out there. I was like, so that way we just call the truck to be able to come here and deliver gas to us, and we never have to stop at gas stations either way. She just looked and she just smiled, and I was like, it's the truth. I'm trying to be to the point where I can be completely off the map. The house will be big enough, and we'll have 2 or 3 houses behind our house to be able, for our mothers to be able to stay at, and the siblings if they want to come, but you know how that goes. I don't know how it's all gonna mix. All the siblings are fine until you the big dog. You know what I mean? Like, if you sitting here with your big nice house here, and then you have 3 smaller houses out there, I don't want them to feel any type of way. But I mean, our goal is, for my wife and I, we just want to make sure our mothers don't have to work anymore, and they have something very nice to be able to enjoy their life with. And hopefully can help us some more with these daggone grandkids, especially as my son is getting to that age now where he got a girlfriend, and I'm gonna have to worry about windows and doors and all of that type of stuff. Now he in middle school, so I'm like, here we go. But anyway, I'm sorry guys, I didn't mean to rumble about that. We're supposed to keep it with the plants. We are fixing this home while our son at least gets a few years of college done. Then we want to get land. I gotta get going, but I add you. I hope you get your dream met. Thank you. I appreciate that. Take care. Have a good day. All right, guys. And I do need to get ready to get off too as well. I just looked at the time and realized I was on here a lot longer than 30 minutes. But guys, that's the plan is. I do want to get it to the point where my plant room be completely glass insulated. Can you imagine what the humidity is going to be in there with that? Have a humidifier. Then I'm going to have showers that can go against the wall, probably about 2 or 3 of them, so that way I can be able to spray the plants off if they have any type of pests and stuff. Because if you have plants, you're gonna have pests. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, guys, if you all don't have any questions or comments down there, then I am gonna go ahead and get ready to head off. I looked at the time. I was like, wow, how did they get there? Only thing I need to get in here and do really is sweep, and I'm going to turn these cabinets towards the window a little bit. I haven't sitting out. I really like the way they look. I'm just scared that they might not get as much sun as they would, but it's been nice to be able to walk through the rooms and not sit on the outside curtains. So we'll see. But anyway, guys, you all have a great day.